You too smell poor. The stench of poverty is wafting over here. Gross, it's going to soak into my expensive clothes. Poor people making under $50,000 a year need to disappear. When Matt and Sherry ran into me by chance, they looked at me with disdain. They even pitted Paul, who was next to me, as a low-wage worker with dirty hands. 15 years ago, Matt suddenly left me and remarried. His new partner was a doctor's daughter. What's so great about a doctor's daughter? Amid their laughter, Paul straightened his back and spoke up. Are you mistaken? $50,000 is my monthly income. What? For a moment, both of them furrowed their brows in confusion. But then they burst out laughing. Yeah, right, stop lying like a little kid. Amazing, do you get your salary in $10,000 bills from a children's bank? I had always been scared of Matt. I couldn't stand up to him. But now, after 15 years, the tables have turned and it's time to show him. I am Angela Norman, a housewife in my 40s. I've been busy lately but finally got a haircut and a thorough head spa, which refreshed me. Touching my neatly trimmed hair sometimes makes my chest feel tight, because it reminds me of the past days that feel crushing. Please, just listen to a bit of my old story. I first got married almost 15 years ago when I was 27. Unfortunately, it wasn't a sweet honeymoon from the start. Right after the wedding, Matt quit his job and became a house husband. He felt undervalued at work and was stressed. It was always tough, but he seemed to have endured it by keeping up appearances. We started at the same company, but I regret not realizing his struggles. I was a full-time employee, so it was no problem. So, I vowed to support him. However, we're short on living expenses. As a house husband, Matt always seemed grumpy. He complained about the lack of living expenses every month. Are we short again? It's only mid-month. What can I do when the money you give me is so little? But I was able to live alone on half this budget. Suddenly, Matt glared at me. Are you saying it's my fault? It's impossible to suddenly get used to housework like a woman. I clean and cook for you, so why am I being complained at? Matt threw a tantrum like a child, stamping his feet and ranting quickly. Eventually, I stopped giving living expenses to Matt, and he managed my salary instead. I would get a monthly allowance of $200, but even that soon stopped. The budget is tight this month, too. I can't give you any allowance. Then, can you at least give me some money for the department's drinking party? A drinking party? You're too incompetent and earn too little to go to such things. Every time Matt shouted, I became afraid to speak. He wasn't always like this. He was a kind and cheerful man. I think he was beloved by both men and women at the company. His current attitude must be because he's tired. I thought to myself, just be kind to him for now, but that for now went on for 3 months. 6 months. I couldn't see the end of just for now. Here's your lunch sandwiches. I woke up early again today even though I'm still sleepy, just for you. He used to pack sandwiches with ham or tuna, but recently it's just cheese. But today's sandwiches are plain. I wonder if there's even anything in it. This month's salary was $2,700. Isn't that too little overtime? You understand we can't live properly with 2 adults on this, right? You should be grateful you can even eat a tuna sandwich with your incompetence. Yeah. Make sure your take-home next month is over $3,000. Okay. I want to do better, but somehow I can't muster the energy. As I nibbled on my breakfast toast, a sigh escaped me. Right after, Matt sighed even louder than me. Ah, being a section manager isn't all that, huh? It's probably just because they have to give women positions too. Just picked you as section manager for the heck of it. If being a section manager meant better pay, then maybe, but look at this. A female section manager is just for show, the salary tells it all. I'm sorry. If I had been a section manager, I could have contributed more to the company. Maybe Matt decided to resign because I got a position before him, hurting his pride. If that's the case, his breakdown is my fault. I can't blame Matt. I have to obey him. After breakfast, I was brushing my teeth in the bathroom when I got a shock. In the mirror, there was an ugly old woman. Dark circles under her eyes, deep laugh lines, and her hair was a frizzy mix of gray. I have to do better. I wet my parched hands with cold water and tied my hair back. Once I fixed my hair, I transformed from an old woman to a dignified career woman. One day, I was out for work and headed straight home. It was earlier than usual. The area was still bright, with mothers with young children and students around. The station was nearby, but I started walking in the opposite direction. For some reason, the side towards the station felt gloomily dark. I didn't want to board the train that would take me to the home where Matt was waiting. Though it was nearly spring, the air was still a bit cold, and the wind stung my cheeks. When I touched my cheek, it felt rough and dry, probably peeling. Oh, a trendy cafe. I'd love a warm cafe au lait. But maybe I need a moisturizer more. I muttered to myself as I passed by the cafe when a man fast walked to me. Hello. He was wearing a crisp white shirt, a refreshing sight. It seemed like he was smiling at me. But there was no way he was talking to me, so I looked down. However, the man peered into my face. Are you interested in being a hair model? He was definitely looking into my eyes when he asked. I don't remember what he said next or how I responded. Before I knew it, I was sitting in a chair in a clean, stylish space, getting my hair cut by a hairstylist named Paul. How does it look? About an hour later, the mirror reflected a younger version of myself. My hair, once frizzy, now had a glossy shine. There were no waves or frizz, and my fingers slid through it smoothly. It's like I'm a different person. You look very beautiful. I knew it was just a compliment, but I couldn't help but smile. I was a bit skeptical about being a free haircut model, thinking it might be a scam. But Paul truly worked magic on me. The sweet scent of shampoo wafted from my hair. Paul gently stroked my hair, and somehow, the tension in my shoulders and the rest of my body melted away. I used to think it didn't matter if my hair was frizzy or gray as long as it was tied back. But it feels good to be beautiful. If you'd like, please let me cut your hair again. Paul treated my hair with the care of a glass artisan. It had been a while since I felt cherished by someone. Just an hour ago, my legs felt heavy, but now they felt light. It was getting dark, and the station was lit up. I boarded the train with my back straight and went home. How's your day? What happened to your hair? As soon as he saw me, Matt's eyes widened. I answered with a shy smile. You know, I was asked to be a haircut model, so I got it cut. Oh, and it was free. Really free. Amazing, right? My overgrown hair is now a short bob. I didn't expect him to say it suited me. I hoped he'd say something like you look refreshed, or lucky it was free, and laugh. But Matt's face twisted in an instant. What? Free? That's a lie, right? You're a low earner and incompetent. And you just went off and spent money on your own, right? You leave me to do the housework while you go out and have fun? I was taken aback by his unexpected response and stumbled over my words. No, it really was free. Look, I don't have any money in my wallet. There's no way I could go to a salon. Are you indirectly asking for pocket money? You have a terrible personality. What? That wasn't my intention at all. When was the last time I had a normal conversation with Matt? Tonight's dinner was still in plastic containers from the supermarket. If I said, "This is tasty," he would likely snap. So you think store-bought food is better than anything I could make? If I tried to fold the mountain of laundry on the sofa, he'd surely get upset, thinking it was a dig at him. So, I always just dug out whatever clothes I needed from the pile. I noticed a few wrinkles, but if I ironed them, Matt would explode. I had always been careful not to upset Matt, who was struggling with his mental health. It was pointless to insist that the haircut model was free, or that I was happy my hair looked nice. I'm sorry. Recently, our conversations had devolved into Matt getting angry and me apologizing. That was all. Being with Matt was exhausting. However, the option to distance myself from him had never crossed my mind. I didn't want to cause unnecessary worry to people from our former workplace. So I told them Matt left his job to advance his career. That's why he still keeps in touch with former colleagues. If they found out I had abandoned him while he was unwell, I would probably feel very uncomfortable. Then I thought, I only thought about myself. Wanting to distance myself from Matt or worried about my status at work. I didn't even try to support Matt, who was suffering. I hated this cold-hearted side of myself. I didn't want to face Matt either. So, I began to live each day with an empty heart. Without any conflicts, thinking I was living peacefully. But the peaceful everyday life suddenly collapsed. I've decided to get married. When I returned from work, Matt suddenly announced this. Married? I was confused. We were already married. Matt began to tremble and then burst into laughter. I stood frozen in the entrance, still not understanding. Then, a woman I didn't recognize appeared from the living room door down the hallway. Matt casually draped his arm around her shoulder. I'm going to marry Sherry. The woman named Sherry nestled her cheek against Matt's chest and flashed me a triumphant smile. Sorry, ma'am. I'm taking your Matt. Taking him. But that's... I looked so confused and ridiculous that they couldn't stop laughing. Just like Matt said, you really are a dirty old woman, ma'am. No wonder he wanted to cheat. But don't worry, we know it's not the wife who let him cheat but Matt who is at fault. Rest assured, we'll generously provide compensation. You're just a section manager but can't earn more than $50,000, such a useless woman. You want money, right? $10,000? $20,000? You can name any amount you like. My father is a doctor. We have money, so don't worry. And just like that, my marriage with Matt ended unceremoniously. I remember my parents, in their anger, demanded $50,000 in compensation. But we only received $10,000. It was frustrating, but dealing with Matt was too painful, so I reluctantly accepted it. That's the end of my sad story. 15 years after that divorce, I still occasionally think of Matt. Let's forget the past. I smoothed my freshly cut hair with both hands, trying to calm my troubled heart. The next day, I went to a suburban shopping mall with my husband. Is that you, Angela? A familiar, unforgettable voice called from behind me. Maybe it was just a hallucination because I had been reminiscing about the unpleasant past just the day before. Ah, it is Angela. A man suddenly appeared in front of me. Could this be a hallucination too? I blinked several times to check, but it was definitely Matt. Sherry, his affair partner from that time, was also with him. Wow, nostalgic, it's Angela. This girl, my ex-wife. The stain on my life. Matt was as exuberant as if he had reunited with an old friend. Feeling a pang in my heart, I clung to my husband's arm. Huh? No way, a man? What, Angela, you remarried? Ah, congratulations on your remarriage. Matt and Sherry smirked unpleasantly. In contrast, my current husband, Paul, and I remained serious. Sherry looked Paul up and down from head to toe with a pitying expression. Oh dear, your husband's hands are rough. Oh, and so are yours, ma'am. Poor thing, you must be struggling. Matt's gaze fell on our hands. Wow, it's true. Those are definitely the hands of poor people who've struggled. So filthy. You two really stink of poverty. The stench of poverty is drifting this way. Ugh, it's going to soak into my expensive clothes. People making under $50,000 a year should just disappear. He approached us suddenly and started insulting us unilaterally. Matt exaggeratedly pinched his nose and waved his hands in front of his face. I don't know what poverty is supposed to smell like. But Sherry's strong perfume was far more unpleasant. I lightly held my nose, which felt like it could bend. Paul looked puzzled and asked, An income of $50,000? What are you talking about? That's Angela's salary. Wow, Sherry, you still remember Angela's salary. Well, I have a good memory. Poor lady, working so hard just to make $50,000, right? I suppose your husband is also a low-wage worker being exploited. I remember, too. Sherry is a doctor's daughter. I wonder how great being a doctor's daughter is supposed to be. Amid Matt and Sherry's laughter, Paul straightened up and spoke. Are you perhaps mistaken? $50,000 is the monthly income. What? For a moment, both furrowed their brows in confusion. But then laughter erupted from both of them. Nice lie. Stop with the childish lies, please. Wow, amazing. Do you get your salary in $10,000 bills from a children's bank? The two clutched their stomachs as if in pain from laughing. Matt and Sherry seemed more childish than actual children, offensively so in their lack of intellect. I had always been scared of Matt. I couldn't stand up to him. I still dream of him sometimes, and when I remember those moments, it feels like my chest is being crushed. But the Matt who appeared before me after 15 years was just a foolish bully, nothing to fear. What was I ever afraid of in Matt? It felt like a lump that had been stuck in my throat for a long time suddenly fell away. My voice flowed naturally. It's not a lie. My husband and I run a beauty salon. Nice lie. Beauty salons in fashionable areas have no entry for ugly old ladies. Oddly, Matt's taunts drifted past me like a light breeze. That over there is one of our beauty salons. I pointed at a beauty salon inside the shopping mall. Shall we drop by? I took Paul's arm and started walking. Matt and Sherry giggled as they followed behind us, probably expecting me to stop any minute and make up a ridiculous excuse. I walked confidently ahead of them and without hesitation, opened the door to the salon. Welcome. A female hairstylist greeted us pleasantly. Matt puffed up his cheeks, trying to hold back his laughter, and joked. "It's a visit from the owners." "Huh?" "Yes." "Are you friends of the owner and the vice president?" "We're always grateful for their support." "Huh?" Caught off guard by the serious response, Matt and Sherry were stunned. Paul smiled warmly at them. "Do you understand now that it wasn't a lie? This is one of the beauty salons we manage." Matt muttered with a frozen expression. "It's a lie." "It's not a lie." Looking desperate for me to tell him it was a lie, Matt looked at me for help. But I couldn't give him the answer he wanted because we truly are the owners of the salon. I still remember the day Matt left me. "I thought I was supporting you through your struggles. But you cheated with wealthy Sherry and easily discarded me, which hurt a lot." Somehow, thinking about that day no longer made it hard to breathe. I felt as if I was finally free from Matt's spell. After Matt and I split up, I visited the beauty salon where I had been a hair model. When I felt like I was worthless to this world, I remembered how they treated my damaged hair as if it were precious. Could it be that this hairstylist is him? "Did you marry him?" "That's right." I was drowning in sadness. But getting my hair dyed a bright color somehow lifted my spirits. Paul saved me when I wanted to disappear. At the time, Paul, still an apprentice, dreamed of owning his own shop. Inspired by him, I studied while working and obtained my cosmetology license. Around the same time, Paul realized his dream and opened his own shop. We managed the shop together as a couple and now run several stores. Paul is the president and I am the vice president. I continue to work as a hairstylist even though I'm an owner because I love it. Huh? That doesn't make sense. You, incompetent and low-paid, a hairstylist? An owner? That's a lie. Matt held his head in confusion. Matt used to mock me for being low-paid, but earning $50,000 isn't easy. It was scary to give up a stable job as a salaried worker. But I wanted to chase my dream with Paul. An old woman like you talking nonsense. Hairstyling is a job for young, cute girls. Indeed, I looked like a wreck and old before. But that's exactly why I aspired to be a hairstylist, to make people beautiful. Caught off guard, Matt examined me from head to toe. Dressed simply but neatly, I smiled gently at Matt. My face may have matured with age. But I'm not the broken old woman Matt had to insult anymore. I can clearly see that I shine brighter in my 40s than I did in my 20s under Matt's control. I'm living a fulfilling life, I conveyed, radiating happiness. As if a halo had appeared behind me, Matt squinted against the brightness and stepped back. A mere hairstylist acting so high and mighty. As Matt fell silent, Sherry sneered. A hairstylist who makes people beautiful? Hair alone doesn't change a person. Stuck in the past, I had been keeping tabs on Sherry's clinic. Her parents used to run a general practice, which at some point turned into a fancy beauty clinic. Likely, Sherry had started interfering in its management. My clinic creates women's beauty. Can a hairstylist remove facial spots? Can they rejuvenate and remove sagging? It's embarrassing for mere hairstylists who only mess with hair to act so superior. I don't believe that people aren't beautiful because they have spots or sagging. When you get your hair done, you naturally find yourself smiling. Just having clean hair can boost your confidence and help you like yourself more. Everyone who smiles is beautiful. But what's the point of being a breathtaking beauty with a flawless face if you're always frowning, right? Sherry twisted her smooth, egg-like face in displeasure. I've heard quite a bit about your clinic, Sherry. People come to you wanting to become beautiful. But I hear there are many cases of burns and swelling on their faces. What? Stop making weird accusations. My clinic has good reviews. Online reviews can be easily manipulated. But word of mouth directly from person to person? That's something you can't control, can you? Being well connected in the beauty industry, I hear all kinds of rumors, good and bad. I don't even need to look them up, the stories about her clinic just come to me. They say when someone goes to you to remove a single spot, you push them to treat other spots, pores, and sagging that they didn't ask for, right? I'm just trying to make them as beautiful as possible. And you also forcefully push products they don't need for home care, right? I'm just recommending good products. Sherry raised her voice in irritation. The hard sell tactics in a confined private room must be terrifying for the patients. I heard that even when patients clearly suffer burns from the treatments, you tell them it'll heal over time without proper care. I don't know anything about that. I'm not a doctor. It's my father's clinic, so it's none of my business. Indeed, she's not a doctor. That's strange. I've heard stories about the clinic's daughter. A reputedly skilled and beautiful doctor, performing procedures. Sherry opened her mouth with a smug look. Patients would rather have a beautiful woman like me handle their treatment than an old doctor. It's a beauty clinic, after all. Looks are everything. And you pretend to be a doctor? That's an exaggeration. I don't use any knives, it's safe. Lasers and injections are easy enough for anyone to do. Her attitude towards upselling, mishandling procedures, and even impersonating a doctor is chilling. I thought rumors might be exaggerated, but I can't believe they're actually true. I took out my phone from my pocket and said calmly, I'm making a report. Pretending to be a doctor and performing medical procedures without a license is a crime. Sherry gritted her teeth in displeasure. The one to stop me was Matt. A report? To the police? Come on, don't do that. Sherry seems numb to the reality, but Matt is different. He seems aware that they are committing illegal acts. What will happen to our clinic if you report us? Don't be vindictive just because I dumped you. It's not about our past. Matt. It's because I've now confirmed that there is a real problem with the clinic. When Matt realized I was serious, he quickly changed his tune. To be honest, I've been fed up with Sherry's way of doing things. She's too selfish, using her status as a doctor's daughter. I'm breaking up with her. It has nothing to do with me anymore. Go ahead and report. Meeting Angela again made me realize how awful Sherry is. Angela, you're a hard worker, and unlike Sherry, who just leeches off her parents, there's no comparison. Angela, you're a great woman. I like you. Matt's blunt confession made my skin crawl. I almost blurted out EW. What? After all the support I gave you, you say that? What's so great about being a doctor's daughter? You're just living off your parents' money. And besides, your parents don't even make as much as Angela does now. A nasty argument started. I didn't want anything more to do with them, so I pulled on Paul's arm to leave. Angela, wait. I'm serious about you. Matt tried to follow, but Sherry tackled him to the ground. Don't mess with me. If you're going to dump me for her, pay back all the money I spent on you. Enough with the money. You're rich, just keep throwing your money around. Their scuffle turned into a wrestling match in the middle of the mall. Security arrived to separate them. But Sherry broke free from a big man's grasp and lunged at Matt again. Angela, help. It's not about the money. I like you. Sherry mounted Matt and he reached out to me. It wasn't a laughing matter. But seeing Matt's front tooth broken like a bad skit made me burst out laughing. Shut up, you leech. Sherry, her egg-like face now veined with anger, headbutt him. They really are an aggressive couple. Paul and I aren't into wrestling, so we just exchanged looks and chuckled. I used to be a wife who only followed Matt. But Sherry clearly communicates her opinions and fists directly to Matt. They seem quite well matched. Later, as I had declared, I reported Sherry's clinic. It caused a major uproar with many victims emerging. The clinic was immediately shut down, and Sherry tried to disappear with her parents. But they were promptly sued by a group of victims and caught. Sherry, especially, faced severe charges for medical practices without a license, adding assault and fraud to her crimes, leading to a prison sentence without suspension. She won't be able to maintain her proud beauty inside prison. Matt was also suspected of complicity but was acquitted. However, during the investigation, embezzlement was uncovered. It seems he had been secretly selling the clinic's expensive home care products on a flea market site. Sherry reportedly screamed, "Give him the death penalty." But Matt only got a suspended sentence because the stolen amount wasn't large. There are no more problems between me and you, Angela. Let's start over. Later, unbelievably, Matt appeared before me. I've definitely cut ties with Sherry, who committed a grave sin. Angela, you're the best. I like you. Sorry for making you wait so long. He tried to strike a princely pose, but it was just gross. I'm not waiting for you. You've also committed a major crime and are on probation. You're not in a position to speak ill of Sherry. Don't be so tough. I'll treat you right this time. I could only be amazed at Matt's delusional thinking. If, just hypothetically, I were to start over with Matt. At my words, a sparkle appeared in Matt's eyes. I would have to quit the business I run with Paul. Even if I start a new job now, I doubt I'd make even $50,000 a year, let alone $50,000 a month. Would that be okay? However, the sparkle in Matt's eyes clouded over instantly. See, it's not me you love. You just love money. 15 years ago, I was concerned that I had wounded his pride by advancing in my career before him. But in reality, Matt has no pride. He just wants to be taken care of by a woman, to live comfortably without effort. If you love money so much, it would be quicker to earn it yourself. Oh, maybe you can't, which is why you leech off women. I remember I got promoted before you did. What? There's no way I'm inferior to you. You only got the section chief position because you're a woman, it's a special quota. I'm obviously better. It seems Matt did have a shred of pride after all. Although I had been submissive before, in his heart, he must have looked down on me as a woman. Who would bother with an old woman like you? After receiving this humiliation from me, whom he deemed inferior, he threw out these last words and disappeared. This should mean he won't come back to me anymore. Sometime later, I heard through the grapevine that Matt had been arrested by the police. He had been following young women around, and at one point even hugged one from behind. Maybe being scorned by an older woman like me made him want to prove he could attract younger women. Although he had a tendency towards emotional abuse, he wasn't the type to commit a crime before. Perhaps Sherry's ease with breaking the law had lowered his barriers to committing crimes. Environment is important, I suppose. Since it's been 15 years since we severed ties, it's entirely someone else's problem now. Thinking hypothetically about separating from Paul, I realized I have no intention of leaving him. I am thoroughly satisfied with my life with Paul. It might sound exaggerated, but I am the protagonist of my life. I don't want to return to the days when I was controlled by Matt, losing my emotions and merely surviving. I refuse to be a side character in someone else's story. Today, I went to see your shop. Is that so? You should have called me. You seemed busy. More importantly, the customers coming out of the shop were all smiles, constantly touching their silky hair. I suddenly remembered the first time Paul cut my hair. I was truly happy then. Holding on to that joy, I always pick up my scissors. I'm glad I became a hairstylist. What happened to you? Paul looked surprised but showed a smile. I look forward to seeing many more smiles tomorrow.